A quick warning before we start. This guide is a spoiler for patch 7.3 and the Dawntrail story. If you aren't up to this yet, I'd recommend clicking away and coming back when you're up to this trial. If you don't mind being spoiled or are ready to dive in, let's continue. Hi, I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason. Calix, you harnessed the fear of death from your people and in your infinite wisdom, you decided to summon a primal. Sometimes I am so glad you have no idea who I am. Oh, this is a being that represents death itself? Calix, very few have stood against me and lived to tell the tale. As far as you are concerned, I am death. Time to learn about the Ageless Necropolis. Simplified. The arena will not have any walls, so try not to fall into the pool of Final Fantasy IX fanboys. Fear of Death is a room-wide AoE that will leave 8 small purple circles on the floor. Untargetable icy hands will sprout from these circles. If you are standing in a circle when a hand sprouts out from it, you'll get a Vuln stack. The hands will all be facing different directions and quickly cast Choking Grasp. This will be a straight line AoE in the direction that each hand is facing. There isn't any way to bait these, so you'll just have to move away from them as best you can. Getting hit by any straight line AoE will give you a Vuln stack. Necron will then cast Cold Grip, creating 2 straight line AoEs on the west and east thirds of the platform. You'll want to look up at Necron and see which side of it has a shadowy purple glow. As the cast ends, Necron will slap the outside AoEs, and whichever arm was glowing will create a second AoE of Bursting Shadow. This second explosion will be 2/3 of the size of the arena and encompass the previous middle safe area. So you'll need to stand on the opposite half to Necron's glow next to the first AoE, and then after Necron slaps, move into where the AoE was to avoid the second larger AoE. Getting hit by either of these AoEs will give you a Vuln stack. Cold Grip will repeat with the glow on Necron's other side, so dodge around the AoEs as best you can. The cast of Memento Mori will place a fuchsia straight line AoE down the center of the arena. At the end of the cast, Necron will fire a massive beam, leaving behind a lingering dark purple AoE. You'll need to quickly get to the sides of the arena to dodge this before it goes off. Getting hit by the beam will give you a Vuln stack, and touching the lingering AoE will give you a 15-second bleeding dot tick. 5 icy hands will sprout out from the lingering AoE and face outwards in alternating directions towards the west or east. Just like before, they will slap the floor in straight line AoEs in the direction they're facing, so dodge between these as best you can. A few seconds later, the lingering AoE will dissipate. Blue Shockwave is a massive 90-degree enmity-based cleaving tank buster. To maximize the safe zone for everyone else, the tank will need to move to one of the front corners of the arena and aim the tank buster away from the party. Everyone else should move to the opposite side away from the cleave. If you fail to make it out of the tank buster, you'll become chicken feed for the greatest serpent of Tural. After this, the boss will raise its hands to the ring in front of itself and cast Soul Reaping. The ring will have a blue light border around it. This will signify a donut AoE. However, the attack won't go off immediately. Instead, it will be stored in a diamond on the bottom of the ring. As this happens, there will be words on screen and in the chat that reads, Necron draws in ether. Following this, Necron will then cast Ether Blight and put an outlined crosshair on the diamond. At the end of the cast, the diamond will be absorbed and the stored AoE will go off. You'll need to get well inside the hitbox to avoid the AoE. Failing to dodge the Soul Reaping AoE will give you a Vuln stack. There will be another cast of Soul Reaping. This time the ring will be filled in with a blue light. This will signify a point-blank AoE. This one will also be stored in a diamond. As this one is stored, there will be another cast of Memento Mori with the lingering middle AoE and the 5 hands coming out of it. As the lingering AoE dissipates, Necron will cast Ether Blight and release the stored AoE. So you'll need to dodge the straight line AoEs of the hands, then get ready to get out of Necron's hitbox to dodge the point blank AoE. Following this will be the cast of Grand Cross. This will cover the arena in an AoE, leaving only the middle of the platform as the safe zone. You will need to be in this safe area before the cast ends, or else you'll fail the sudden gravity check. There will be 4 blue ringed orbs called Azure Ether that will be tethered in pairs to one another with a thick straight line as they begin to orbit the platform. Each pair will orbit at different speeds. As this begins, several small AoEs will appear around the arena. After a few seconds, lightning will strike these AoEs. Getting hit by any of the small AoEs will give you a Vuln stack. As the orbs are circling, a 3-second timer will appear in front of each pair, one after the other. As it counts down, the line connecting the pair will shift from blue to orange. At the end of the countdown, the paired orbs will stop and a beam will fire from one orb to its companion in a straight line AoE. Getting caught in this beam when it goes off will give you a Vuln stack. Each pair of orbs will take turns firing several times with an additional round of small lightning AoEs. This entire mechanic is pretty chaotic, however there is an easy way to dodge all of this. As you begin to dodge the first set of small AoEs, start moving towards an intercardinal point on the outside. We do this because the first beam from the orbs will be fired across 2 cardinal points. All the other beams for this mechanic will never be fired through a cardinal point, so after this first beam goes off, every cardinal point will be a safe spot for the rest of the mechanic. You can also move move between save points if you need to dodge the second round of small AoEs. As soon as all of the orbs stop firing, they will come to a stop on the cardinal directions and each create a proximity straightline AoE through the middle of the arena. To reduce the damage that you take, you'll need to get right on the edge of the intercardinal points of the platform. If you don't get out far enough, you can be instantly incinerated. After this, Necron will cast Neutron Ring, which is a room-wide AoE that will return the arena to normal. A few seconds after this, a bar labelled Rising Fear of Death will appear and begin to fill up. The bar will fill by 2 every second, making this an enrage timer, because if it fills, Necron will cast his ultimate, wiping the group. Necron will then become untargetable as 2 purple puddles pour into the arena. Targetable Icy Hands will sprout, turn to target the main tank, and cast Choking Grasp. This tank will need to try their best to bait these AoEs away from the rest of the party, avoid their straightline AoEs, and destroy them quickly. 2 more pairs of puddles will again pour into the arena and sprout Icy Hands. Nuke them all down. When all 6 Icy Hands have been defeated, Necron will become targetable again and begin casting Darkness of Eternity. Several dark puddles will be poured onto the floor, however this time they will expand and cover the entire arena. As the cast goes off, darkness will consume the entire platform as Necron becomes untargetable again and transitions to the next phase. As you load in, you will be on a small platform alone in the abyss. You will be given a 40-second Doom debuff. There is no way to dispel this Doom except to escape the abyss. 3 Icy Hands will appear in front of you and cast their straightline AoEs. Avoid the AoEs and destroy them as fast as possible. When all 3 Icy Hands have been defeated, a small blue circle will appear on the north side of the platform. Walking over this circle will send you up to the next platform. Continue making your way along the series of small platforms until you reach the final one, bathed in light. When you touch the middle of this platform, your Doom debuff will be dispelled and you will ascend back to the arena. If you fail to make it to this point by the time the Doom debuff expires, you will instantly die. Try to kill your ads fast enough to ensure that you have enough time to escape. As you fade back into existence, Necron will reappear. Necron will cast Spectre of Death and tether to a point on the west and east sides of the arena. Large untargetable hands called Looming Spectre will rise from these points and cast Invitation. These will be a straightline AoE in front of the hands that will cover a third of the arena each. You will need to move to the row that will not have a hand in front of it to dodge this attack. If you get caught by one of these hands, it will drag you back to the abyss. You'll find yourself back on the small platform to repeat the ad phase with the Doom debuff. As the hands retract, there will be another cast of Cold Grip, so dodge into the middle and then to the safe side away from the glow. After this will be a slow cast of Relentless Reaping. This will show 4 consecutive telegraphs of Soul Reaping. The ring in front of Necron will display either a blue ring around it or a blue circle inside of it, indicating a donut or point blank AoE respectively. The first AoE will be stored as a single diamond and placed at the bottom of the ring. This process will repeat 3 more times, alternating donut or point blank AoEs, with each diamond cluster being stored numerically around the ring. When this is finished, the cast of Crop Rotation will spin the ring, randomizing which diamond cluster will be at the bottom. Necron will then cast Seasons of Blight. The diamond at the bottom of the ring will get the crosshairs around it as each diamond will be primed one at a time with a blue flame. At the end of the cast, the bottom diamond cluster will fire its stored AoE. From here, the ring will rotate anti-clockwise and release each diamond cluster's AoE as they cycle to the bottom of the ring. There are only 2 patterns for this mechanic, either out, in, or in, out. All you need to do is remember which one was stored in the first diamond. At the end of the crop rotation spin, just look to see which numbered diamond is at the bottom. If it's 1 or 3, it will start with whichever AoE was stored first. And if it's 2 or 4, it will start with the opposite of the AoE that was stored first. So you'll just need to dodge in and out of these AoEs as best you can. Following this, Necron will cast Mass Macabre. This will create 4 summoning pads with 4 lit up circles inside them. For every person that stands on one of these pads, one of the lights will dim. When 4 people stand on a pad, chains will briefly appear to bind it and it will disappear. As you are doing this, Necron will cast Fear of Death and pour shadows onto the floor to have hands sprout out of them and cast their straightline AoEs. If you don't make a summoning pad disappear by the time the Icy Hands finish their cast of Choking Grasp, it will summon an additional set of Icy Hands. This set of hands will be targetable and start casting Spreading Fear. You'll need to destroy this hand before the cast finishes. If the cast ends, it will explode in a hard-hitting room-wide AoE and inflict everyone with a Vuln stack. When Necron casts the next Spectre of Death with the giant hands, it will also perform the massive Cleaving Tank Buster. The targeted player and the party will need to split to opposite sides again, but everyone needs to make sure to dodge into the safe row away from the hands. If the tank gets grabbed, the Tank Buster will go on whichever side the hand will be as it drags them into the abyss. So tanks will need to make sure that they dodge the hands to avoid potentially cleaving the party. From here, mechanics will overlap and repeat until Necron has been defeated. Congratulations, you have defeated Necron. My name is The Scrub. Thank you for watching.